What's up, guys? What's up? What's up? We back
What it
at it. We
do?
What's
back
up with it?
at it. And it's always a vibe with the MCs. Oh, hey,
It's the groovy
oh.
miss for me. It's the groovy miss it for me.
Man, if y'all
Ooh,
don't know
I love
about
the
that, boy, y'all need to come
vibe.
to the 305, the
Here you go.
805, the 407, 4. Just come down to Florida.
It's
They'll
the
show you what's
Florida.
up.
Yeah,
They
you might as well
definitely
just shout out the whole state, Ron, before you go through all them
They definitely
doggone
show you
area
what's up with
codes.
them dance moves. Cause when I came down here, I didn't know nothing.
Ah, man, I miss Florida, y'all.
I miss Florida
I
too.
miss Top Flight.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
yes. They taught me how to jump. They taught me how to pull out the stick. They taught me how to skate and all that.
All the beam,
Listen,
all that.
being
But
being
it's
on and on and on.
hey,
Yeah.
hey,
Stop!
hey.
Don't get me started. Don't get me
Okay,
started.
okay. But yeah, we on week 8. We doing it big, doing it better. Just a little different show today, but I do got my lovely co-host with me, Robin McGee.
Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome. Tuning
Mm-hmm.
in. Love to see you. Love to be here. Amen. Mm-hmm.
Definitely, and I got my boy Jerry, that doggy dog.
Dog world, yes sir. Dog eat dog world. Let's get it, baby.
Sure, and definitely, and we got it. We got an award winner on our team today. Somebody out here winning ships out here. We talk about hold on. We talk about this person right here. Robin McGee.
Am I the
Shoot.
drama?
Hold on. Let me get the applause. Let me get the applause. Cause
Thank you. Thank you,
definitely,
guys. Thank you. Thank you.
she
Thank you.
won the
Thank you.
assistant coach of the year, and
I
I think
did.
third place, right?
Yep. Third
Third
place.
place.
Took it
Yeah,
away. Yeah. We
definitely.
did great. Shout out to
Tell
my
us
team.
about that moment, cause me and you was just talking about it. So
Yeah,
let
it was
America know what happened.
it was very special, honestly, for me. We had just concluded our competition and we were waiting for the final scores to tabulate. Shout out to my team, UWL Gymnastics. Y'all have my heart. But yeah, we were just sitting there waiting. I went to go and greet my family, my friends that came and supported me. And I only heard my school's name being called because they were just giving out so many different special awards at the time. And I heard my school's name being called, I just naturally was like, oh my God, that's my school. Yay, me. Yay, us. And so everybody in the audience that we were sitting next to, because they were all spectators and fans of our school, and they just turned around and was like, Robin, oh my God, that's so awesome. Congratulations. And I'm like, thank you. Like, it's my school, it's a school effort. And then my mom was like, girl, if you don't get up there and get your award, I said, I won. What did I win? My mom was like, just go and get it. So you just see me. I posted a clip on my Instagram and it was just like me running. And I like midway through me sprinting from the stands to my coach to hug her. I had no idea what I had won until everybody was like, that's our assistant coach. We won the assistant coach award, all that good stuff. It was so much. And I just thoroughly appreciated it. This team has definitely have like a special place in my heart because I didn't think I was gonna last 3 years being in lacrosse, let alone winning the assistant coach award. So I was like, it was a very special moment for me, and I genuinely appreciated being in that time, that space. So yeah, I am the assistant coach of the year for my division. We're Division 3 gymnastics at the national level. So yeah,
Mm, amazing.
yeah,
Just
thank you, thank
checks.
you,
That's my team winning.
thank you, thank you. I'm so
Sure.
excited.
We checking stats out here, man. Let's talk about this stat right here, man. Sure. Let's talk about it.
No, first of all, y'all know I mentioned this, a couple weeks ago how family went through a traumatic experience on pro day for them. This was back to pro day, I think 2019 actually, so 3 years ago, where no one showed up to their pro day. So to go from that experience, right? We experienced COVID where, pro day was just not as normal as it could be. to in 2022, March 28th, on Monday, 30 out of the 32 NFL teams were in some way, form, or fashion representing at FAMU's Pro Day. An amazing accomplishment. Also, a couple of Canadian teams as well. So CFL teams were in appearance. This was huge. Shout out to Willie Simmons. Definitely kind of getting the brunt of that experience back in 2019. People had their opinions, and a lot of it fell into, oh, the coach needs to do better. The coach needs to have more conversations. He needs to stand up for the team. But I don't want to hear anything about this coach anymore from this day forward, because he made it happen, and it was a beautiful day on that Monday. So many. It definitely culminates the experience for these athletes to know that these scouts are definitely coming and looking at them. But they know that they have been deserving in this all along. It just makes it a little more special that it's actually coming into reality for them. Because we've talked about this the last couple of weeks of, like, we're having the combine, we're having the HBCU combine, we're having, on some of these athletes being invited versus not being invited, but they're all seemingly the same, agility and ability as athletes. So to see that and see these teams coming out, and another thing, not only were there the 30 teams out there, but some of the teams had more than one representative that was there for the teams, right? We had offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators showing up in addition to player personnel, right? So I don't know exactly who the other teams were, the other two teams that were not there. Because I don't know if they kind of put out a list of exactly all the teams, or I know they had posted pictures and things like that. But even still, if you were the two teams that weren't there, shame on you, because y'all probably had the time. And if you didn't, then you had so many people on your staff that could have made the time of the day. But I just want to, highlight those 30 teams that did show up, including the CFL teams, because these athletes, they're deserving of the recognition and the accomplishments. So shout out to them. Great job, FAMU, Willie Simmons, and the athletes. Yeah. Period.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's huge to have them people, all these scouts show up. Especially, it's what kind of stood out to me is more than what showed up at Jackson State. So you can't really give all the credit, oh, this is Dion's work, this is Dion's doing.
Mm-hmm.
More people showed up there than they did at Jackson State. So it comes a lot. It comes down a lot on FAMU's athletic program, the head coaches, what's been going on within the organization, the winning of the program. Since Coach Simmons came in, he's kind of turned around, a culture in that program. They've been winning a lot more than what they're used to in recent history. So I give a lot of credit to him, a lot of credit to the guys, kind of advocating for the people to show up, and a lot of credit to these players putting that work in to get the scouts out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we did talk a little bit about, like, a Marquis Bell who showed out at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, but also had the opportunity again to perform at Pro Day, and all of his accomplishments and all of his distinguished, achievements for himself. But who are some other folks that we may not have really talked about per se coming from FAM, that definitely could have that ability to make it into the NFL? What do you guys think? Or CFL rather as well.
Um, shoot. Just to piggyback off your first statement, it's amazing that like 2018 showed up. That, like, I wasn't expecting that many. I was expecting like at least 15,
Right.
Yeah.
20. I was expecting that, but 2018, that's almost the whole NFL.
Right.
Correct.
Sheesh.
Correct.
So I'm pretty sure the South team showed up and showed out. I'm pretty sure the whole South showed up and showed out for the NFL. If they didn't, shame on you. I definitely
Yeah.
know the Rams were there. So the Super Bowl champions were
Mhm.
there looking for people to add on their team. So that's big. If you have a
Yeah.
Super Bowl champion looking at HBCU, and the former offensive coordinator that was at FAM, he's actually in one of the coaches' roles for the Rams now. So, just creating that pipeline through the Los Angeles Rams, that's going to be amazing for us. But yeah, and definitely for the two CFL teams, I don't know who they was. I don't know how they caught word, but
Mm.
they got their passport and came on to chucking.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's
a lot
def
of them oftentimes they'll, NFL and CFL, they be talking, right? Because a lot of them have either already been in the NFL prior to, transitioning to the CFL, coaches wise, player personnel wise. So I'm not at all surprised that CFL got on the bandwagon because if I'm hearing even through the grapevine that 28, NFL teams are showing up, where am I gonna be? I'm gonna be with them because clearly they see something, and I want
Mhm.
to have something for my league as well. So I'm probably the other CFL teams is like, damn, we should have been there too.
Right.
You right.
Right.
I'm gonna be
Mm.
me. I'm like, shit, I should have been there. Everybody else there, 28 out of 32 NFL teams, and then you got
Right.
two CFL teams. Why wouldn't you attend? So I think that would now put on the radar for other teams. The four teams that weren't there, in inclusion to the other CFL teams that weren't there as well. They should be put on the radar. Get out there, get it done before all your team members. You ain't gonna have nobody to choose.
I think it actually makes them look bad. Like
Mm,
they didn't join the party. Like you guys got
mm-hmm.
left. You didn't hop on the train. You know,
Correct.
uh, you got. I will speak back on what Ron was talking about. The alumni that work with the Rams. We got an alumni from Winston-Salem State that actually works in scouting. Torrey Woodbury, he played at Winston-Salem State and is working in scouting now for the Rams. So they have a lot of connections with HBCUs. I want to
Yeah.
say I saw Washington out there. The
Mhm.
Eagles were out there, but one team I did not see that did not go to the last combine or last pro day was them Panthers. I did not see my Panthers out there,
Mm,
and I hate for us to miss out on somebody so good. These athletes coming from FAMU because we have some amazing athletes. So Matt Rule, y'all got to get on the ball, man. It's not looking good.
mm.
Well, I think the
Get on
Falcons.
your team.
I think the
Get
Falcons.
on your
Cause
team.
I
that
think it's not.
if I'm just saying that's a 4 hour trip. They gotta be there. That's a car ride. So
Right.
they can't ain't no excuse for the Falcons. Now
Look,
Charlotte, that's
Hmm.
like a 7 hour, 8 hour ride depending on traffic.
man, I don't want to hear
Shoot,
it, man. We ain't got no excuses. All of our picks at the end anyway, so we need to get everybody we can.
you're right.
Right.
But
Well, what do you guys think? What do you guys think is the shift between now? Like, what do you guys think happened for these NFL teams to have the desire to come? Do you think that it does have to do with like the attention of a Deion Sanders bringing to the schools? Or do you think it's because, FAMU has been in the limelight, for the past couple of years, just thinking into the NIL deals that we have, LeBron James being a part of the organization now, and then the success that the team has had over this past year, athletically, just with the football team. What do you guys think is kind of like that shift that people now are taking it seriously and want to show up? Because I think this is the most in history that they've ever had, at least in the past decade. I know that for sure.
Well, for me, I think it's a combination of both. For one, for us to do well in the conference and to play, Jackson State to do well against them, it's kind of like, hey, we know Dion's over there. Let's kind of see what FAMU's got going on, and then for us to do well, um, not only there but also at the pro days. We got people, like Bell's doing well at the pro days. Also at the Senior Bowl, Collier, the other DB, he did really good. I think he got player MVP or player
yeah,
of the day or something like that. But
Hmm.
for our name to come up so many times, it's like we got to go there.
Yeah.
It's not like we they don't have any players there. Their names come up 3-4 times. We have to go see what's going on. We have to see what separates them from these other teams, why they're standing out at all these different events that we're hosting. So I think it's a combination of everything.
um, I think it's a combination. It is a combination of everything. Also, just calling people out. Like, the last couple of years they would not come. It's like I'm calling you out. Like like there's no ends, buts, or whats. If y'all gonna come down here, come down here. And guess what? UC FSU Pro Day was the next day at 10 a.m. So they had
Correct.
no choice but to stay the night.
Right.
They had no choice but to stay the
Because
night
you know
and
they're
wake up
not
the
gonna
next
skip
morning
that.
and go across the street. So like, you
They're not
might as
gonna skip
well
that.
just come a day earlier and watch us. Like,
Yeah.
just prime time with calling them out, bro. You like they literally put HBCU on notice by calling these NFL teams out, checking them and letting them know, like, hey, we got athletes, like you said, Jerry. These names they keep bringing up in the office. Probably they keep, they're watching. They keep seeing their names. They keep seeing the numbers. They keep seeing the stat lines. Like, if y'all players will come to the HBCU, they will come, and everybody else will follow. So it's just, I think it's just a domino effect to how everything happened. People calling NFL out. Draft is, pro day, and the combine. It's just a combination of everything happening, and everything just fell in line for definitely for JSU, definitely for us. And for some other schools too that's having a pro day like yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wanted to add, man, I know through my college experience, through the recruiting process, it's a little bit different from the pro level, but it has some similarities. Um, it's almost like it's a kind of relating back to what you're saying. If one team does it, everybody else is going to follow. So why are they doing this? Let me go ahead and go. We might
Mm-hmm.
not even know who was here, but we're going to go because they're going. It's a more of a I don't want to miss out on a great opportunity on a small team guy. Like honestly, I keep saying his name, but Darius Leonard. A lot of people didn't know who that was. Coming from HBCU, they don't want to miss out on the next Darius Leonard, and we might in that case have that next guy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cause definitely FAMU got an athlete. So shout out to Savion, shout out to Conley, shout out to Bell, shout out to everybody that did their pro day at FAMU, and just shout out FAMU definitely.
Right.
I think also just to kind of tie it all together is like the negative connotation on like, okay, now Florida has something to or FAM has something to offer because of the scouts, or the prospective athletes that these scouts are looking at. I don't like putting a limelight in that narrative as if to say that, oh, we just now have good athletes this year that we didn't have in previous years. I
Right.
don't think that that would be fair to say. Now, granted, do we have some athletes showing up a little bit more athletically than if comparing numbers and statistics? Okay, sure, we can sit down and have a whole debate across the board, but I don't think that that is a fair assessment and justification on people just not showing up, especially like you said, Ryan. I mean, Ron, like they have people that are coming from Florida State. You know what I'm saying? Their pro day is literally always either a day before, day after, or day of our pro day. Just hop yourself into a van, drive down the hill, and go. You know what I'm saying? Send a representative. You don't have to send your whole squad if that's what you brought. But I think this is just a slap in the face to just ultimately just ignore that. So I just think that as we continue these conversations and as years continue, whether you have a star athlete like Marquis Bell or not, they deserve the attention just as much as any other institution who may have worse off athletes, or statistically worse off, I should say, than Marquise Bell, but I probably have every NFL team showing up to their pro day just because of the school that they attend to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want them to continue that idea moving forward, that it just everybody deserves that opportunity. So yeah, shout out
Yeah.
to FAM, the athletes, Coach Willie Simmons, all his coaching staff and everything, and also the 30 teams that showed up.
And
So
I
yeah,
think from what I read, this is probably the first highest NFL NFL pro day attendance for an FCS school.
Oh wow.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
shout out to fam.
They broke records for sure.
Yeah.
Good for them. All right, shifting gears, we're going to be talking about the brand of some of our HBCUs, our favorite HBCUs. So the question is, and this, I'm going to kind of elaborate on what we kind of want to think about when we're talking about brand, right? So we're thinking of the overall image of a school. Like Ron, you made a great point. If you were to present, logos from certain HBCUs, you want the crowd to understand who belongs to what logo is that, where is that school, even if you don't know the historical content, because although not everybody went to, let's say, an Alabama, right? We know Alabama when we see Alabama. We know LSU when we see LSU. So that's kind of the mindset that we want to look at. So in your guys' opinion, I'm gonna let you guys kind of start off. Who do you think had the best HBCU brand, the best HBCU image that is consistent in their nature, consistent in their like recruiting and their, their overall, impact to the community? And why do you say that? Go.
First off, I wanna say, I think FAMU and also North Carolina A&T have the best overall brand image, to me. And that may be a little geographically biased from where I'm from and where I went to school. But the reason I say these things is because every time you hear about something that's going well, even when it comes to endowments or money that's donated outside of athletics, it's going to be Howard, North Carolina A&T. You're going to hear FAM. You'll hear um, uh, Grambling here and there, but it's a lot of schools that you won't hear, and I really wonder why that is. But I know that the branding for these schools is very well. Outside of the money that's given, athletic programs. A&T has had a great athletic program for a while. FAMU's athletic program is on up and up. It's been doing very good
in this HBCU football.
My bad. Go, Jerry.
It's doing very good. So I think these two programs are kind of what's standing out to me as the HBCU brand of totality of what you want to have from an HBCU.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. My bad. While you was talking, I was trying to pull this video up for y'all so y'all can see it. Definitely. I got this video from Twitter. This talented young lady, Yard Talk. She kind of does what we do on a greater scale. You know, she do her thing. That's all I'm gonna say. She do her thing.
Yes, sis.
And she's a Grambling alum. So, she went to Grambling. She diehard, black and gold and everything. And I just want to, share this video to give y'all thoughts. Then I'm gonna try to see what y'all think and see what the audience think too, man. Cause definitely the audience, they always have something to say. They comment and all that. So
they want to show. See, Jackson State is the hunted right now. They're the SWAC East champs. They're the SWAC champs. And although they lost in the Celebration Bowl, they have a bigger brand than South Carolina State. And then all the other HBCUs in the SWAC they beat. So everybody in this HBCU football thing is comparing themselves to Jackson State. Good or bad. Good or bad, and whether they want to admit it or not, they are comparing themselves in every single aspect to what Coach Prime and the Tigers are doing down there at 1400 Lynch Street. Whether they want to admit it or not, and some of them have already admitted it.
When I saw that the other day, I was like, oh, okay. Well, started scratching my head, I started thinking about all the other schools besides Jackson State that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm like Jerry, when I was younger, clearly grew up in South Carolina. So the first school I knew about was South Carolina State. And the only other school I truly knew about was Grambling, because I actually saw them on TV. So I knew about South Carolina State and I knew about Grambling from historical wise, as far as, me being a young kid and my dad telling me about these two schools, blah, 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 Grambling, blah, 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 South Carolina State. They got all these Hall of Famers and whatnot and blah, blah, blah. This is a good school. People in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. People go this, and that. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got you. But now we're in a new generation where this technology is YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and hopscotch, and all this other stuff that the kids use now that,
Hopscotch.
I don't know. I'm just, shoot, they're probably going to have that out.
They really are, though. You need to patent that name.
I
Right.
probably need to make that
Actually.
app before somebody make it.
One of the viewers
Hey,
gonna take it.
yeah. Hey, I'm about to copyright that. Hey, I got my lawyers in check, so if y'all hear me, hey, we need 10%. We
Mm-hmm.
as a group.
Collectively. Facts.
But just coming off the tech. Now I say back in the day with no technology, just TV and radio, Grambling, Howard, Southern. You could put FAM in there because that was the first national championships of the FCS. So you definitely South Carolina State. You can put those schools in there. And back in the day, yeah, JSU because they had that bad boy at running back. So like you just had to. But nowadays, like beforehand, FAMU was literally leading the torch. Like from what I know, FAMU was leading the torch. They been overseas. They been overseas. They been played in the Super Bowl. All the alumni popping, like popping. So just like you were saying, if you brought a sheet of paper with a whole bunch of school logos on it, would our non-demographic people know?
Mm.
Even people in the West Coast, because there's not many HBCUs in the West Coast. So like,
Right.
if you hold up a sheet of paper and be like, "What's this school?" Would they notify? Oh, that's Grambling. Oh,
Right.
that's South Carolina State. I'm pretty sure some would and some wouldn't. So, but it's all about how we brand ourselves, and I think, like Jerry said, FAMU hands down, FAMU has the best branding. Point blank. Period. Nobody can touch us. Nobody can beat us. Nobody can stop us because just what we're doing. ESPN, LeBron James, Nike, right now NFL. Like we're even in Canada. Like, come on. Like,
Why are you saying it like that?
come on.
Why did you say it like that? It's
I,
Canada.
I I don't know why I said it like that, but
Canada.
just know we right now we're the forefront. Now, if
Yeah.
we on the football side of it, Jackson State, you got
Yep.
it hands down.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
I give it to Jackson State. Then us
Mhm.
and Grambling in the tie because of Hugh Jackson. But if they didn't have Hugh Jackson, we showing up. We pushing a good second and pushing a good first almost. Go ahead,
So
Rob.
this is how I'm looking at it, right? First, when the question was posed to me, and I've actually been asked this question in a different way, but it was more from like a well-known perspective, taking athletics completely out of it, but not completely out of it, but it's not like the focus of it. If we're asking the question holistically, right? I don't think JSU is in that number at all. Now, have they
No.
grown to be in the limelight of recognition? Absolutely. But let's really think about it. Like, who was thinking about JSU before Deion Sanders? I'll wait because actually, I grew up in Tennessee where we talked about this. We had the Southern Heritage Classic. I was on TSU side. I knew we competed against JSU, but after we competed against JSU, I never thought about JSU anymore. Never really thought about, how successful they were with their academic programs, athletics programs, like none of that. And we can also tie into the recognition that they're getting now with basketball as well, from the women's side, right? We weren't thinking about JSU women's basketball until this year, right? So I think in essence, people are so quick to jump on the bandwagons of like, oh, JSU is popular because they got Deion Sanders. They're getting money. They're getting deals. All his kids is going to JSU. The women's team is doing all this. And not to take that away from them, not at all. But I think it goes beyond just their brand. I think they're getting the recognition to now get into a lane that they can create a better consistency for their brand. But I still don't think that they're there yet. What I would say, I was actually going to say the same thing as you, Jerry. When I first thought about the brand idea, I thought about North Carolina A&T and FAMU as far as athletics holistically. Like, are they, championship winning teams? Absolutely. Do they have their recognition and accomplishments statistically? Absolutely. But then overall cultural, like, appearances for them, you know what I mean? Having, the LeBron James being in there. And yes, that just came, But even before that, like they have a lot of historical, appearances outside of just, the deals and the money that they just gotten. They have some historical roots. And then if you're taking that athletic piece away and just thinking about brands, just image wise, and like you said, Ron, where, the people of not our demographic, we know who we talk about, but the people of not our demographic, who would they think? Immediately, and I immediately go to like a Howard or a Spelman or Morehouse. Why? Because when we think about those HBCUs, right, they have the epitome of serving, the way that HBCUs definitely have grown as far as catering to our community of people and remaining consistent in that, right? Like, especially when we're talking about Howard and Spelman. Like, I know a bunch of, people of the Caucasian ethnicity, that immediately know, about Howard and Spelman. They may not know where it's located. They may not know, oh, Kamala Harris actually went to Howard before y'all even knew who Kamala Harris was. Like, they may not have known all of that, but they know those schools because they have built a brand and an image for themselves because they catered to our community as much as they possibly could when other schools wasn't there yet. And those schools were still not even the first HBCUs for Black people. Like, what was it? Like, who was the first HBCU, y'all? Was it Coppin State? I gotta go back and come on, Jerry, you should know this.
It's
You
a
my
school up
African
north.
American.
It's a school up
Yeah,
north.
get that info, Jerry, because I don't want to
Yeah.
misquote my
But
The
history now.
first ever. What was the question? The first ever
First ever
first ever
HBCU.
HBCU. Funny story,
Let's
I'm gonna
see.
tell y'all this. When I was about to go to
It was
FAMU, I told one of my white teachers. I was like, she was my favorite teacher. I ain't gonna say white teacher. She was one of
You
my
gotta
favorite
have
teachers.
one. You gotta have one.
She had me in math. I went to mid school. I was like, yeah, I'm going. I saw her one day because my uncle cut her son's hair. It's a very diverse community. And she loved the way my uncle cut her son's hair. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to. I told her I'm going to Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University because I ain't think she knew about FAMU. She was like, oh. FAMU, the school with the rattler. She did just like that. I was like, oh god. Then what made me kind of upset. She was like, isn't that the school that all that debauchery was going on with the band? I was like,
not she bring up the first bad thing that happened.
That's what I'm saying. It's the association piece. It's like it goes into also that conversation of our brand. They may know the school, but why do you know the school? And that's the first thing you thought of TV, was the band,
and because the band was hazy. That's the only reason why she know that school.
The band debacle.
Hey,
but Jerry, who was the first school though?
So established on February 25th, 1837, Cheney University of Pennsylvania became the nation's first black college. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's up north and everything. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like even they don't get the recognition being the first HBCU, right? It's like the brand it goes deeper than just money. It definitely goes deeper than that people have to realize that. Like, granted, like you had said, I think it was either you or Jerry, Ron, I don't care, but Grambling has definitely got to that point too. But I think Grambling still is kind of like in the same lane as JSU. It's like they're getting the recognition now. They're in the news. Especially we're gonna be talking about NASCAR. Shout out to our guest star that's coming on. Mm-hmm. But like even things like that, like they're coming out of the norm of what we normally see them for. And I think that's what's kind of giving them that lead and advantage to create a better consistency for their brand. But and overall, I think that more non-demographical people are paying attention to us more. I think that is something that has been happening over the past. I would give a decade for sure. Just knowing like, what we've been doing in the community, what we've been doing outside of just athletics or Greek life or, the band life, all of those different things that kind of are like the stereotypical HBCU, home style culture. they're doing more, and I think that's what's giving them that lead and that push. But I just urge, these schools to not just think about it all has to do with money, because now that, we talk about all these people getting scholarships and stuff, Spelman and Howard and Morehouse, they always getting money. Always getting money. I don't care what y'all say, they always getting money. And it's
Always.
like, but really, what are they doing now? But it's like they created that foundation, so it makes sense. And it's always the white people too. Always the white people that's giving Spelman money, Morehouse money. Like,
Oh,
and I'm not taking that away from them at all, because all the HBCUs need it. But I'm like, can we give that across the board? The amount of money that y'all giving to these schools, you could divide that out, and everybody gonna be winning. Everybody could be winning, because you can capitalize on that, invest it, whatever. But I digress.
Yeah,
fund
man.
That's my take
allocation.
on
Shoot, but yeah,
fund
man.
allocation.
Today, guys, I know I ain't really announced this, but I kind of want to be like, I want this page to grow. I want this page to be for my subscribers, and at least for FAMU people and for people that just click on my page to watch. So definitely, I got a special guest. This is one of Jerry's close friends. He's doing amazing things in the industry, in the NASCAR industry. Not a lot of people colored way back when worked in NASCAR, and they're reamping their brand, they're reamping their departments. They're going out there and looking for the next the next colored person, to be that ambassador for NASCAR, because NASCAR doesn't just touch their community; it touches everybody's community. Once each reach one, teach one. Yeah. So, special guest here, Mr. Conyer. I definitely want to bring him on. Applauding him for all the great things that he's done, man. Can you definitely tell us about yourself and where you from? How just tell a little bit about yourself, Instagram and all that, man.
10-4. We definitely want to say thank you for having me on the show today. Definitely appreciate it. My name is Gregory Carty. Throughout school, growing up, people know me as Montreal, so y'all might see that name switch / code switch. You know how the game go. I'm
Okay.
currently a manager within NASCAR within the Licensing and Consumer Products Department. I've been with the company for about 5 years now. My role typically primarily ranges around licensed product as a whole. Categories that I manage revolve around tailgate, outdoor, gift novelty, licensing, premiums, which is where I'm able to work with different racetracks and departments and sponsors to order giveaway products for at track campaigns and activations, and then also kind of help out with the trackside model as far as when we have retail vendors show up, sell licensed merchandise at our NASCAR sanctioned tracks. And I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina.
You
Yeah.
better go, boy.
Shoot.
Go.
well,
Hey,
Love that.
before we ask these questions, and I'm glad I should have brought you on here a little bit earlier. Before we ask these questions, what HBCU has the best brand? Since you name all the stuff you did, it just popped in my head like, okay, he got to know something. I know NASCAR teaching him something. So like, what HBCU brand has the best marketing value? Has the best eye popping value that you have seen this far?
That's a great question. I went to Winston-Salem State University, so I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to go ahead and say the top two will be FAMU and Jackson State. Given what Deion Sanders is able to do with the university, I mean, you got people walking around with JSU stuff all over the place. I haven't seen that since Walter Payton played, and I wasn't even alive. And then on top of that, you got FAMU with the partnership with Nike, which is a big piece because I don't know any other I would say big time brand that's stamping their name within HBCU, similar to what Nike and LeBron James is doing with FAMU. So I definitely feel like those two pieces and those two components, having those big time athletes being part of these HBCUs, is definitely a great way to have brand recognition throughout the country.
Okay. Thank you, man. Thank you, Robin. Go ahead, take it away. First question.
Okay, so Montreal, can I call you that?
You sure can. Go right ahead.
Okay, yes, sir. So Montreal, I just wanted to first kind of touch on, HBCUs have been in the news in partnership with NASCAR for actually a long while, but more recently we've been seeing, Grambling State being, on one of the cars at Daytona 500. I know there's you guys go to Winston-Salem State, so I know there's a Winston-Salem State student currently right now that's about to drive in his first NASCAR race and things like that. So, kind of just walk me through a little bit on your knowledge on how NASCAR is able to partner up with different universities, and what do you think can this really do for the HBCU community, knowing that we're in, the NASCAR kind of arena and environment now?
Oh, for sure. So first off, I'll definitely say NASCAR has I would say three different initiatives that we have throughout the company. One is Drive for Diversity. Then the other one is Diversity Pit Crew Combine. And then the other one is the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program. So a lot of people may not recognize and know, but NASCAR has been definitely in the grassroots, either of HBCUs or in minority communities, trying to hand pick and try to get different diverse minorities within the sport. The first one that I touched on is Drive for Diversity, getting more minority drivers. A lot of times I'll say, in my community, we didn't know anything about NASCAR, racing cars, anything. We knew football, basketball, baseball, maybe soccer. Other than that, that was it. So being able to kind of have a grassroots model to bring young drivers up through the program is definitely a big initiative. Similar to what Raja Caruth. He's a sophomore at Winston-Salem State University. He drives with Rev Racing. Then he'll also be at the Richmond race, having his debut in the Xfinity Series, and he'll be driving the Virginia State University car. And then that's pretty much the driver piece. The Diversity Pit Crew Combine. A lot of times, another fact that I don't think individuals know, but NASCAR goes out and actively has pit crew combines for either different athletes or students at HBCUs, where they go and change a tire, they fuel up a car. They kind of learn the dynamics, almost to where you have NFL combine. You have these drills that take part, during that whole session, to where you're able to analyze your skills and kind of see what you can do. And then from there, a lot of athletes that have attended HBCUs go off and have a chance to, be a part of Cup, Xfinity, Truck Series, to be on a pit crew. So one individual that I know really well, Elrod Morris, he participated through the pit crew combine, went to Winston-Salem State, was on the football team, and then he went ahead and kind of made a name for himself within the Cup Series. And then the other piece is the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program. That's a program that I was a part of that kind of handles the business aspect of NASCAR. So those are the three components that NASCAR kind of dwindle down and try to have something with the grassroots model of bringing more diverse minorities into the sport. To kind of go back to your question, with Grambling being on the 44 car, the John Cohen's team, the team is New York Racing Team. So Greg Biffle is the driver for the number 44 car. So that team is doing part-time races. So, they had the FAMU car in Las Vegas. Then they also have the Harris Stowe car that was ran in Atlanta. And then this weekend, they'll be, for the Richmond race, they'll be having the Norfolk State University car. I definitely think that's big for us. I mean, granted, I don't think I've ever seen or even heard of HBCUs being on any type of car. Growing up, you hear about NASCAR being, within the Southeast region. You really don't expect any HBCUs to be on any type of car, branding, anything like that. But I definitely think that, tables are definitely turning in that aspect to where, we're kind of bringing in more diverse fans within the sport, whether it be viewership. You see a car on a track that has your school, you're more apt to check it out and, take a look.
Right.
So I definitely think,
Right.
teams are doing a better job of like hand picking and making sure they're kind of making things diverse from that standpoint.
Yeah. Now, we have some viewers that probably are out there trying to figure out what they want to do in their life, especially the young ones and our youth. Tell us a little bit about kind of your journey and where you are right now in your career within NASCAR. Is this something that you've kind of been looking into since you kind of gotten into school, or was it like, a kind of a blessing in disguise that kind of came your way and you just followed that path? Tell us a little bit about how you got into where you are right now.
I would definitely say blessing in disguise. Growing up, I mean, my grades really weren't that good in high school, and was definitely, able and blessed to be able to go to Winston-Salem State. I went there to play football my freshman year, so played fullback. And kind of growing up, going to different football camps. That's where I met Jerry. We met at Campbell University at a football camp, and then kind of built a friendship from there. Went over to Winston-Salem State, like I said, played a year. And in my sophomore year, I was like, you know what? I ain't going to the league, so I need to start focusing on internships. How can I better my life after college? So I would say my sophomore year, I was initiated into the U.S. Untitled Chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, which definitely kind of set me on a path to kind of grow. There you go. To definitely grow, from all aspects of life. And then from there, that summer, I was able to do an internship through the Nascar Diversity Internship Program, where I interned down in Daytona Beach, Florida, within the event marketing department. So that was more so putting on Q&A forums that were held at the track, making sure signage was in correct places for sponsors and different activations. And one thing that kind of stood out the most of me being able to get that internship was I was at a homecoming event, and I ran into, I studied sports management at Winston-Salem State, and I ran into an individual. Her name was Ivana Howe. She's actually with 2311 Racing now, which is Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's racing team. She told me about the internship. She did it the year before. And that's why I definitely say network while you're in school. I mean, that was at a homecoming event, just chopping it up with different people saying, hey, where you are now, or, what did you do while you were in school? Just little things like that definitely take a long way. But she told me about it. And then I was able to intern, and that was back in, I want to say, 2014. So I was definitely young at the time. Then as I graduated from Winston in 2016, I interned with the licensing department in Charlotte, North Carolina. So that's the department that I'm in now. And then went over to get my master's at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, in sports management, but in the educational realm. And then from there, did an internship with the racing team. And at the time, I didn't know anything about NASCAR growing up. I mean, my mom took me to a race, and I was like, okay, all right, yeah, this is cool. But it didn't really dawn on me to have a career out of it. I had
Motor
3
Speedway.
other opportunities. Say that again.
Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
one.
That's what it said. Yeah, so I didn't grow up watching. I just went to the race, and then when I started to learn the business aspect about it, that's when things really started changing for myself, knowing that, okay, I can definitely make a career out of this. And I've been with the company since 2017, and I definitely love it. I mean, it's an opportunity to grow. I mean, there's not a lot of African Americans in the sport of NASCAR. And one thing that I always grew up on was it's okay to travel on the road that's less traveled, and I felt this industry, I can definitely make a name for myself and kind of pave the way and be a trailblazer to help other individuals, down the road. So that's kind of how I looked at it.
Okay, so I have one more question for you before I allow my little co-host to ask you questions. But have you ever driven a NASCAR? And if you have not, do you want to? And if you do, can I be your passenger? Because I have been wanting to get.
That's a long-winded question right there.
Listen, I asked you
Well, that
3,
question has
you had
7
time
comments.
and space to
So-
answer. But baby, I have been wanting to get in somebody NASCAR, and since now I know you, Montreal, I just wanted you to know I will be your first passenger. Unless you have some family members, I will wait in line. But just know. Let you know.
So look, let me ask you this: how far have you driven in a car?
Tennessee to California, and that was roughly 23 hours.
And how
So
fast
almost
did you go on the
2,000.
highway, miles per hour wise?
Ooh.
Honey.
Well, I was a passenger, so I don't know if
Oh,
that counts.
yeah. So
but-
that don't even count. Yeah, that don't even count.
Okay, so driven myself. Okay, wait. Driven
Have you hit-
myself. I would
Have you ever
say-
hit over 100 miles per hour?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. All right. We can talk about this then. Okay, so through the several opportunities that I've had at the track, I actually went around the track at the Daytona International Speedway. However, I didn't drive. I was in a pace car. So we allow pace car rides that go on a couple hours before the actual race. And I'll tell you, I think I was up there about, I want to say like 155. And I mean, you have bankings that's about 30 degrees at Daytona, and the track is over 2 miles long. Another track that I was able to be a part of was the Charlotte Oval Race. So they have a roval track in Charlotte in the fall, and I was actually able to go through that track. And actually, Brett Bodine, he's a NASCAR driver, former driver back in the day. He actually drove the car, but I haven't driven it myself. I've been in the car, and it's a scary sight.
That's okay. I'll find
Keep
my
that
little
no
waiver.
helmet.
I'll find my waiver. I know what I'm getting into. I want to do it.
You got it. You got it. Just get in contact with Jerry and myself, and we can make it happen.
All right, now, Jerry, make my dreams come through, friend. Okay,
I got you. I made sure. I got you. At the next family homecoming that we all go to.
Right. That we all going to. Montreal, you coming? You coming to the homecoming?
I've been down there before. I've been there before. I had a good time. We just got to figure out the date for this year.
Yeah.
Understood. I got you, video. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I like to ask you this question. Go ahead, Jerry. Or
you got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, like what's the difference between NASCAR and like the other sports? Because when I grew up around the Charlotte area. I'm from Gaffney, if you heard about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I grew up around the Charlotte area. The literally is a dirt track in Gaffney. Then you go down the street. We country. So when we say down the street, we mean the highway. When you go down the street, we're going to Charlotte Motor Speedway. So the only you only know a couple of people like Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, the Tom Brady's of the world and all that other stuff. How can like NASCAR now brand themselves to, is it like the NFL as far as like they branding themselves like the NBA as like MLB? Like how do they brand themselves to make themselves more noticeable than like other sports during their season?
One thing that I'll touch on is we have this marketing activation that we call it's called Driver Star Power. Driver Star Power. So Driver Star Power revolves around, I want to say, quite a few drivers. I'll definitely say the young ones. So we have young drivers such as Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, William Byron, Ryan Blaney. There's a few drivers that are kind of in their 20s that are young, making a name for themselves and doing really well. So our marketing department definitely kind of hones in and have marketing campaigns around those drivers. I mean, then we have our veterans as well, too. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. You have some of those guys who've been around the industry for quite a while that, can have their own pedestal in a sense, I would say. But, I would say commercials that we have. We definitely run a lot of commercials. We did a commercial with the LA Clash. We had a Clash event where we raced at the USC football Coliseum, which is the LA Memorial Coliseum in LA. This was back in, I want to say, February. But we took out the football field grass and put a pavement in there and was able to have a track. And I mean, there was a lot of publicity around the drivers and then also Fox. So Fox did a broadcast and commercial on the up and coming drivers and then was able to kind of channel it over to the NFC Championship weekend. It was right before the Super Bowl. So ways that we can kind of align with other sporting events and then also make a name for ourselves is definitely important. So that's kind of how we kind of publicize our drivers. So to say, I mean, our drivers do a pretty good job of making themselves, I would say, known in a sense, especially when they're out and about at the racetrack.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So my question ties back to, you were speaking on, having kind of like a combine or, a scouting event to get people to work with the pit crew. You said yourself you played football at Winston State alongside myself. If you were given the opportunity, would you have taken the opportunity to work with the pit crew versus going this route you're on now?
Oh, that's a good question. I definitely think I would have tried it out. I mean, knowing what I know now, I mean, these guys, I mean, they got a tough job. You got to be able to change out a car less than 12 seconds. If you don't change it within 12 seconds, you're getting fired.
Wow.
I mean, and these guys, I mean, they're paid just like professional athletes. I mean, you got some of these guys out here on pit crew teams that make over six figures because of the training and the amount of work that they put in for this. So I mean, I would probably say I'd probably take a stab at being a tire changer. But I
Ron, stop
try it
it.
Who you got on the
That's
phone,
not my
Ron? Who you
girl.
calling up, man?
Hello, President Nascar. Yeah, my name Ron Bridges. Yeah, I changed tires since I was 5. Boy, put me on the team, coach. Go ahead, my bad, bro.
No, but one thing I did want to
Those
point
seconds,
out
man.
also.
That's great.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, kind of going back to the previous question, what makes NASCAR different from other sports? I did want to touch on this point. You know, a lot of times, you know, you go to an NBA game, NFL game, MLB game. I mean, you know that you go in just that day for about 2-3 hours, and that's it. You go in, you get out. And a lot of times, you know, you can only get down to the field or to the court unless you know somebody and you got, you know, some type of courtside access or, you know, field pass, anything like that. With NASCAR, I mean, our sport is so accessible to the fans. I mean, fans can walk through the garage, see the cars up close and personal. You have drivers that walk throughout the garage and able to get autographs from fans, taking pictures. And so, you know, another point that I'll point out as well is during the races, we have a pit wall. Behind the pit wall, fans can stand back and actually see the cars on track, see the cars being worked on, doing pit stops, and all that right there in front of them. So I definitely think our sport, you know, it's a 2-3 day weekend with the family. I mean, family, friends. I mean, you can bring alcohol into the tracks. You can set up camp, bring your own food. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can do and make a whole event weekend out of it, rather than you just going to a sporting event for 2-3 hours and calling it a day. A lot of people go out there and camp. I mean, they have RVs. They get in Thursday and they stay until Monday morning. So
Wow.
it's definitely an event weekend.
Definitely. So, just go back to what you're saying. I know, Daytona is like the Super Bowl of NASCAR. So, like, a lot of people do not know that. So, how would yourself, get, I say, a school like Bethune Cookman into NASCAR, getting their students into that environment as far as sports management and making them, be a part of that Super Bowl or, championship weekend that everybody talks about because, Bethune and Daytona, y'all in Daytona, it goes kind of hand in hand, and they're like, I ain't gonna say they're the only college there, but they're the main marketed college in Daytona. So how would you guys do that? And especially bringing the community out. I know the community comes out for that whole week. So how would y'all align with the school and NASCAR in that whole week?
One idea that is kind of coming about is maybe, you know, having some way, form, or fashion. If Bethune Cookman had some type of sports management program, I mean, it could be a business program, marketing, sponsorship, partnership type of you know, curriculum. Is to get those students out to the track. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you can say, "Oh, I watched it on TV," or "I heard about it." And I feel like once you're there and you're able to see everything that goes on from outside the track, the activations, the retail shops with merchandise that's going on outside of the track, and then making your way inside. I mean, there's so much that goes on with the sport. You can't really say too much in the classroom about it. You actually have to be there. I mean, it goes a long way from sponsorships and sponsors that are at the track, sponsorship around the track as well, you know, through signage, B2B. I mean, there's a lot of business meetings that take place at the track. I mean, in the suites or in the garage. So I feel like once you kind of get students out to the track and get a feel for what goes on, they can start putting the pieces together to say, hey, oh, well, I might be interested in this. I mean, you may not be interested in racing itself, but there's other components around racing, which is more so in the business field. I mean, so I think there's different ways to kind of approach an ordeal, you know, with Bethune Cookman, as you just mentioned, with getting the students out there, just to kind of build that rapport to understand NASCAR and racing itself. And then I think from there it'll grow.
Cool. Any of y'all got questions? 'Cause I'm
I
about
did have one last question for you, Montreal. You talked a little bit about like what you're doing right now with your company. Where do you fulfill, or where do you see yourself, in the future? Where is kind of like your, I guess, plan or future plan of where you want to end up? I guess within, do you want to kind of remain in NASCAR? Do you feel like this is kind of another stepping stone toward maybe a bigger goal of yours? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'll definitely say I've always had the mindset of working from the bottom, going all the way up to the top. I have a mentor of mine, Brendan Thompson. He actually attended Clark Atlanta University back in the day. And when I say back in the day, I mean back in the day. And he actually interned back in 2001 through the NASCAR Diversity Internship Program. Now he's the diversity of inclusion. He's the VP of diversity inclusion at NASCAR. And it's somebody that I look up to on a day-to-day basis, and somebody I can call and kind of lean on, questions as I'm
Right.
navigating through the sport myself. So I definitely feel like, getting to a VP role would definitely be a passion and a goal of mine. As I mentioned, starting out as an intern, a lot of people can't say they started out from an intern and be in a executive suite level position within a company, a private company at that. And
Right.
one where there's not a lot of minorities. So that's definitely a goal of mine, is to keep, my path going as far as what licensing is concerned. One cool thing that I like working on is collaboration. So I'm able to work on a lot of collaborations with athletes, music artists, and things like that. So that's definitely a passion of mine. So that's
Yeah.
something that I love and continue to want to do.
Well, good luck. Bless you, because it sounds like you're on the right path on everything. And congratulations on all the accomplishments you had thus far, because I'm sure that it hasn't been the easiest road for you, but it seems like you are, dividing and conquering. So proud of young black kings out here doing the damn thing. Yes, sir.
Could you?
I'm
Appreciate
waiting
it.
on my ride too, actually.
All
So
right.
just
We got you. We got you.
thank you, Montreal, so much
hmm
for being
Yeah,
here.
no problem.
I got.
Thank you.
We got one more question for you, Montreal. You
All
spoke
right.
on the collaborations. Could you elaborate on who you collaborated with, or is that information that's kind of
Classified.
secret?
I say it's a little classified. You'll see it up and coming though. I mean,
Classified.
I definitely say with next year being NASCAR's 75th anniversary, you'll definitely see a lot of collabs going on next year. So definitely be on the lookout in 2023.
Okay. So
And,
keep our
you know,
eyes open for it. And I got you. I got you.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Stay tuned, baby.
definitely. And
Stay tuned.
this is the big ultimate question that I know us three got in the back of our mind.
Uh-oh, talk to
Um,
me. Talk to me.
shoot. So you know, we kind of got this show that we got going on called, the pre-snap read. The pre-snap read would love to come to NASCAR one day.
That
We like to see, we like to hear the engine throttle and the smell of the oil and the
beautiful.
tires burning. Do you think the pre-snap read can come in your domain and do what we do, show the people what is expected when they come to a NASCAR event? Can the pre-snap read come?
You know what? I think that's a great idea. It's the only way for people to know. It's the only way for people to get it and know it.
You got a point.
Yeah,
Got a point.
yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Because that's the only. I mean, because honestly, if people don't come out, maybe this is a way to gauge people to come out. So hey,
Correct.
I'm all aboard. You
Definitely,
let me
Correct.
know
definitely,
what they.
man. Y'all heard it here first, man. Definitely, we going places and we doing things. NASCAR, we coming to see you
I'm
soon.
gonna get my
Just know if
ride.
I hop in that
I'm
car,
gonna get my ride.
yeah,
I'm
if you
gonna
ain't
get
first,
my
you
ride.
last.
Yep, no gas, no brakes.
Hey,
Yes, no, great.
man, thank you so much, Montreal. I know Jerry definitely gonna be in touch with you, man. If you ever want to come on here or have different counterparts come on this show and give let them express themselves on here, they happily can. And anytime you want to come back to speak about your future experience, you're more than welcome, man.
We appreciate you, man. That's my brother right there. I love that man.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Definitely grateful to be on the show with you all. So I appreciate it. And whenever y'all got a door open for me to come back in, I definitely will.
Definitely. Next time when you come on, we can definitely talk about some football.
Oh yeah, come on now. I'm ready for that.
All right, shoot. Yeah, next time we're gonna just talk about straight football. We're going live at 5, baby. What's up?
Live and direct.
Sounds like a plan. Thanks again.
All right,
No
peace
problem.
out, man.
All right, man.
All righty.
Make sure you follow the Pre-Snap Read on on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please like, share, and subscribe to make this page grow. I see y'all. I'm out.